Russian armor used to survive the night. Not anymore. A new predator has entered the battlefield. And there's no escape. Watch the pack. One marks, another strikes. Jamming fails. The signal holds. Contact. Panic spreads faster than fire. They run. The hunters close. Tracks fail. Options vanish. This is the new night. Silence. Then the pack hunts again. Ukraine's hunting squads. No escape. These aren't lone drones, dispatched on one-way missions of chance. This is a new apex predator on the battlefield. These are hunting squads, coordinated FPV teams that track, chase, and overwhelm anything Russia sends forward. A digital pack, operating with a single mind, eyes in the sky, teeth on command. For every Russian advance, a shadow is already waiting. The problem for Russia isn't just the drone, it's the system, a crisis for which their doctrine has no answer. Their first line of defense, electronic warfare, spools up to blanket the area with jamming signals. A brute force solution against a precise threat. And it fails. The drones are designed for this environment. They hop frequencies faster than the jammers can lock on, or they are guided by repeater drones flying high above the jamming bubble, rendering entire EW battalions useless. Pinned down, unable to move, Russian vehicle crews are forced to keep their engines running for power. Batteries drain, fuel evaporates. The hunt doesn't need to be fast, it just needs to be patient. Roads become traps. A forest that should provide cover instead masks the drone's approach. Every fold in the terrain, every destroyed building, becomes an ambush point. Every hesitation is fatal. This is precision over brute force. Russia's command structure, rigid and slow, can't adapt fast enough. Their countermeasures are designed for yesterday's war. Assaults stall under constant, unblinking surveillance. An artillery team prepares to fire, but a scout drone has already seen them. Before their first shell is away, an FPV attacker is already inbound. Suppression is the new attrition. Multiple pilots, one mission, lock, fix, finish. They hand off targets seamlessly. One pilot tracks the lead vehicle, another the anti-air, a third the command truck. Strike windows are measured in seconds. The time from detection to destruction is collapsing. Frequencies shift. Jammers choke on empty air, their powerful transmissions becoming a beacon for the very drones they're trying to stop. The hunter becomes the hunted. Comms collapse at the edge of fear. A squad, cut off from its command, is an island. Isolated, blind, waiting. Metal can be replaced, morale cannot. The psychological toll is immense. The constant buzz, the threat from any direction, at any time, erodes the will to fight. Every countermeasure meets a moving, thinking target. The pack flows around obstacles, physical and electronic. Hiding is a pause, not protection. Heat signatures betray armor. Movement betrays infantry. Silence betrays fear. Hits land, one after another. A mission kill. The vehicle is immobilized, then blinded, then silenced. A steel coffin, waiting for the final blow. The moment of realization is always too late. Routes close. Options shrink to zero. And then, there's only impact. For every drone that strikes, a dozen more are being prepared. A relentless cycle of production and deployment that Russia's industrial base cannot match. This isn't a battle of tanks or artillery, it's a battle of adaptation, and Russia is losing. The hunt begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. High above the battlefield, a lone scout drone assumes its watch. It is the patient eye of the pack, a silent harbinger tasked with a single purpose, to find and designate the prey. It loiters, unseen and unheard, its sensors methodically scanning the terrain below. Then, a flicker of movement, a thermal signature out of place. The scout descends, its optics narrowing. One drone marks the target, painting it with an encrypted laser or a persistent GPS tag that only the pack can see. The target is now known. Its fate is now in motion. But a signal is a fragile thing. It can be broken by hills, buildings, or enemy jamming. This is the domain of the Queen. Hovering at high altitude, the repeater drone acts as the pack's central nervous system. A repeater drone locks the signal from the scout, strengthening and rebroadcasting it across the entire squad. When line of sight breaks, the Queen doesn't just reconnect it. It bends the signal around obstacles, creating a resilient mesh network that is almost impossible to sever completely. It is the undeniable link between the eyes and the claws. With the target locked and the network secure, the wolves are unleashed. 3 attackers close in. They are not uniform. They are specialists. Some are light and fast, designed to flush out personnel. Others are heavier, carrying shaped charges capable of piercing armor. They fly low, using the terrain for cover, their electric motors a faint whine against the wind. They are a coordinated fist, each drone a knuckle, aimed at a specific point of weakness identified by the scout. The enemy fights back, not with guns, but with electrons. Jamming pressure intensifies, trying to blind the drones and sever their connection to the pilots. But the system is designed for this. Channels hop hundreds of times per second, an algorithmic dance staying one step ahead of the interference. Links stay tight. If one frequency is compromised, the network automatically shifts to another. This triggers Plan B, then C, a cascade of pre-programmed countermeasures that ensure the signal gets through. The pack cannot be deafened. On the modern battlefield, hiding is an illusion. Heat gives away what camouflage hides. A running engine, the warmth of a human body, all of it glows brightly on a thermal sensor. And terrain is a weapon, not just for hiding, but for approach. The attackers use every fold in the earth, every tree line, every destroyed building as a corridor, a pathway to the target that is shielded from both visual detection and direct fire. They know the ground because the scout has already mapped it for them. The system is fluid. Roles shift on the fly. Mark, relay, strike. A scout might hand off targeting to a second, closer scout to refine the solution. Pilots, miles away, perform digital handoffs, passing control of a single attacker from one operator to another to keep the pack fresh, the prey exhausted. This relentless continuity means the target has no time to breathe, no moment to reset. The pressure is constant. The final moments are a blur of speed. The pilot is no longer just an observer. They are the tip of the spear. One touch on the controls becomes a terminal decision yards away. From first sight to first impact can be under 30 seconds. The strike is surgical, a 3-part catastrophe. Attacker 1 is the disruptor. It doesn't go for the kill, but strikes the vehicle's optics or a forward hatch, a violent, percussive blow that flushes the crew out into the open, disoriented and vulnerable. With the crew exposed, Attacker 2 breaks the machine. A precision hit to the engine block, the turret ring, or the tracks ensures the multi-million-dollar asset is rendered immobile, a steel coffin. Finally, Attacker 3 denies escape, detonating on the crew's path of retreat. It's not about annihilation. It's about total, systematic neutralization. By the time the crew realizes what's happening, that this isn't a random single attack but a coordinated, intelligent swarm, it's already too late. This lethality is built on a simple, brutal equation. Scale meets skill. While pilots execute with precision, assembly lines are feeding the front lines. For every complex tank, there are 1,000 simple drones. Command posts coordinate the hunt, turning choke points into kill zones. Every variable is calculated. Range, wind, battery life, distance to pain. This is not just a tactic. It is an industrial process. Replication turns a successful hunt into an inevitable outcome, repeated day after day. The hunting squad is always ready. On the ground, the calculus of survival has been rewritten. Entire Russian columns, once symbols of overwhelming force, are now forced to abandon fortified positions. What begins as an orderly withdrawal quickly devolves into a desperate flight as the hunters begin to close the net. Every path forward becomes a potential trap. Roads are now kill zones. A forest canopy that once offered concealment now only masks the approach of an unseen enemy from above. A river crossing becomes a bottleneck, a point of no return where vehicles are picked off one by one as they attempt to ford the water. Urban streets transform into concrete canyons with no escape. There is no shoulder to hide on. no cover from the sky. The hunting squads operate with chilling precision. They don't just attack the head of the column, they sever its tail. Front sealed, rear sealed. The escape routes are systematically erased from the map, turning miles of road into a linear graveyard. For specialized units, the threat is existential. Artillery crews, the kings of the old battlefield, can't fire without being hunted. The act of firing is a death sentence. Their own weapons betray them. Heat signatures from a single volley bloom across enemy sensors, betraying the precise rhythm and location of the battery. They are faced with an impossible choice: stay silent and be ineffective, or fire and be annihilated. Jamming calls bluff. The pack calls checkmate. One strike becomes many. A single successful hit acts as a beacon, guiding the rest of the swarm to the now exposed and wounded target. This is more than attrition. These squads aren't just destroying machines. They're destroying morale. They are systematically dismantling the will to fight. Inside the steel hull of a tank, the world shrinks to the sound of a high-pitched whine. Every sound might be the last thing you hear. The buzz of a generator, the crackle of a radio, the faint, almost insect-like hum from above. Any one of them could signal the end. The message is simple and everywhere. It's carried on the encrypted frequencies that guide the hunters. There is no outrunning the signal. Under this relentless pressure, cohesion evaporates. Columns shatter into stranded pieces. Platoons dissolve into squads, and squads into terrified individuals, each alone against the sky. Smoke hides nothing from a pilot in your blind spot. Panic writes its own map, a chaotic scrawl of desperate movement that only makes the hunter's job easier. Metal remembers fear. The scorched armor and abandoned vehicles are not just wreckage, they are monuments to a new kind of dread. This is the cadence of collapse. This is how a frontline collapses in 2025, not with tanks, but with 5 silent hunters sealing every escape route. Logistics starved. Retreat paths gated. Day or night, the grid holds. Bridges reduced to single-lane gambles. Tracks marked, watched, interdicted. Fuel runs out. Momentum dies. Sectors go dark. Orders stall. And this is only the beginning. Ukraine's hunting squads are growing. Russia's armor has no answer. Every day the hunters become faster, and the prey has fewer places left to run. No escape.